If you're thinking about buying Nvidia stock because you come across with a headline like this where it says Nvidia stock is going to soar past $300 in 2026, you should stay around. What's up, homie? This is Howie. I'm a principal AI engineer with a PhD in physics. Welcome back to HowieVerse, where investing is driven by data. In this video, I'll break down why Nvidia reaching $300 in 2026 is somewhat unlikely, in my opinion. This video is going to involve some math, but I believe it's going to worth your time because I'm going to show you through data how Nvidia may not going to reach $300 in 2026. Let's get to it. As I mentioned, we're going to do some simple math as we're going to crunch some numbers. Here we have the market cap of Nvidia currently at $4.5 trillion or $4,560 billion. The current price per share is trading at $188. Now, the predicted price by the analysts is $300 as we saw in the article. Now, we would like to extract the future market cap in terms of where the future price is at $300. So what we do, so we take this, divide it by this, and then multiply by this, the current market cap, right? So we get 7.2 or 7.3 if we rounding up, $7.3 trillion. Now we can get the market cap difference between the current and the future market cap. If we take this minus this, we get $2.7 trillion. That means Nvidia market cap has to increase $2.7 trillion in order for the price to be trading at $300. $2.7 trillion is equivalent to buying an entire Amazon company at $2.5 trillion while still have $200 billion in cash. I believe this is really ambitious for Nvidia to be trading at $7.3 trillion in terms of market cap. Let me know in the comment if you think the same or do you have evidence that Nvidia is worth an extra $2.7 trillion. The next segment is the valuation. So in 2025 for the trading 12 months, the PE is currently trading at 46 multiple. So you can double check, just go to the Nvidia stock here and then you look at the PE trading 12 months is at 46 multiple, just rounding it down to 46 as a number. And then if you go to the earnings, you can take a look at all of the reported earnings, right? So you can get the EPS. Here's the EPS number, and you add 4 from here. So 1.3, here's 1.05, 1.8, 1.89. And that's where you get the EPS, right? So the EPS is just adding those 4 quarters that add up to 1 year equivalent. Now, the price that is trading at when it's at 46 multiple is 46 multiple by the EPS. You got roughly where it's currently trading at $186. I don't know if we take this to like 0.6, that will give us closer to $188. So we're just going to round it up to 46, right? For the 2025 fiscal year, we just assume that the PE is going to trade at the same multiple at 46. However, the EPS is changed here because I take a look at the earning estimate in Yahoo Finance, and you can take a look at the average estimate for the EPS here. For the next quarter is at 1.52. So if we add that to the EPS here, 1.52, and then subtract 1 from previous one, we arrive to the EPS of 4.68. And we get the price by, again, multiply the PE by the EPS is at $215. That means when the next quarter earnings coming out, if Nvidia can deliver the same EPS as it was estimated by the analysts, then yeah, the current price should be trading at $215, assuming that the PE ratio stays the same, right? And that gives you an equivalent market cap of 5.2 or 5.3 trillion dollar. Now, the caveat is what happens in 2026. So in 2026, again, let's just assume that the P stays the same, the multiple stays the same. I got the EPS again from the estimate, right? Earning estimate. I didn't do this estimate, some analysts did it. And I take this number, 7.55. So I plug in the number and I get the current price of Nvidia is at $347. $347 for the price that is equivalent to, if I take this divided by this and minus 1, right? So make this a percentage, is equivalent to 61% in growth. So from the year of 2025 to the year of 2026, the growth in the price is 61%. That is insane, right? If you think about the EPS growth, it's going to be equivalent. If you take this divided by this minus 1, you're still gonna get that 61%, right? So everything is based on the earnings or the bottom line, and the 61% growth that translate to the 61% growth in the price. That is kind of insane to me on how the analyst is going to take this, because if the price is at $347, that means the market cap is even higher than what we estimated before. And this is not just one Amazon company. You can buy two Amazon companies with this money, right? The next segment that we're going to talk about is the PAC ratio. The PAC ratio takes account of the growth into the valuation. So what we have here is, again, we have the P multiple at 446, and then the EPS is the estimated EPS by the analyst. And again, for the market, for the current price is you just multiply the PE and the EPS, you got 347, and with the same market cap, right? So in terms of billions. So what we're gonna do is in terms of growth, right? So what we see before, the growth was at 61%. So that translates to PAC of 0.75. PAC of 0.75 is not a lot, right? So what it means is that you can look at the PAC rule of thumb, and the rule of thumb is the PAC below 1 often indicates an undervalued stock. If it's at about 1, suggests that the stock is very valued. But when PAC is above 1, you can suggest an overvaluation. So if we look at this PAC right here, if the growth, right, if the growth is at 61%, yes, we're gonna have PAC that's less than 1 and is undervalued. However, do you think that from 2026, right? So this all data is from estimated for the 2026. And if the growth stays the same as 61%, that means the market cap in 2027 is going to be $13.7 trillion. $13.7 trillion in market cap in 2027. Do you think that Nvidia is going to pierce $10 trillion mark in just 2 years because of the growth is at 61%? Likely not. Because if that happens, let's just say the PE for 2026 is going to stay the same at 46, right? And then we just adjust the growth where it's at 50%. Now 50% is likely in the fair value price. However, the market cap is still at $12 trillion. So if the growth slow down, goes to 40%, according to PAC, it's still around 1. It's 1.15. However, the market cap is still at 11 or 12 trillion dollar. And do you think Nvidia in just 2 years going to pierce that 10 trillion dollar mark? It's very unlikely. That means that the Nvidia stock is going to increase by 2x at least, right? And if we look at the growth now is at 1.53. The pack is now at 1.53. That suggests an overvaluation. Now it's not around 1 anymore. What if it goes to 20? If it goes to 20, that means the pack is at 2.3, right? 2.3, that's overvaluation. Now, that's not too far-fetched where the market cap is still $10 trillion. Can you increase $10 trillion every year by 20%? That means you increase $2 trillion in market cap every single year. $2 trillion market cap, as we mentioned before, that's an entire Amazon company. So I think this is very, very, very ambitious, in my opinion, right? So if that happens for the growth, then I believe that the P is going to shrink so that the PAC ratio, see, you can pay attention to the PAC. If I decrease the PE by half, by 23, then that goes back to the PAC ratio that around 1. So that makes more sense when the PE shrinks to 23, where the growth is at 20%, right? Now, last thing that I want to talk about is that since we reduced the PE from 46 to 23, that is because the growth that is expected is at 20%, right? So at 20%, the PAC ratio is roughly the same as where it's at. The rule of thumb that we saw before is at around 1, right? So if the growth in 2026 is expected to be 20%, justifiably, PE has to shrink by half at 23%. Now, if the PE shrink by half, if you multiply these two numbers, we multiply these two numbers right here, the PE and the EPS, we get the price of $173. That is less than what is currently trading is at $188. So the only reason why the Nvidia is trading at such high price is because of the growth. The projection of the growth in the future in 2026, it's very ambitious at 60%. Do you think that in 2026 the growth is going to stay at 60% coming to 2027? I don't think so. I already show you a lot of math here. However, let me just say two things to conclude this video, right? So first is, can Nvidia pierce $10 trillion mark in just 2 years? Think about that. The second thing, if you say yes to the first question, can Nvidia sustain the 60% growth coming into 2026 and 2027? Think about that. 60% growth, 2026, 2027. Can Nvidia do that? If you say yes to these two questions, then probably yes. Nvidia can go up to $300 plus in 2026. However, I'm kind of skeptical. I think it's highly ambitious. It's very unlikely that it's going to go to $300. However, there is still a possibility that things might happen due to all of this data center construction happening in 2026. Let me know in the comment what you think, if Nvidia can go to $300 in 2026 or not. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.